Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start the next segment of our program, which is the Youth Convention. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the Youth Convention, something that's become a central and pivotal part of the Vivekananda Festival, as you know. So it's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the Youth Convention for 2025, a central and pivotal part of the Vivekananda Festival. Vivekananda believed that youth are the architects of the future. He urged us to build lives of meaning, to serve others, and never to fear failure. His message was clear. My faith is in the younger generation, the modern generation. Out of them will come my workers. And with that, I have great pleasure in inviting onto stage the President and our guest of honor, Reverend Swami Sarvastananda, Minister in charge of the Ramakrishna Vedanta Center, UK. Joining Swamiji, we have many bright minds joining us from various prestigious universities across the country. So I have great pleasure in welcoming Rishi Amin and Om Gujjar. Rishi is the co-president and Om is the vice president of the University of Bristol Hindu Society. Please welcome Rishi and Om. Next, we have Shuchishmita Moitro, who's a PhD student at the University of Oxford. We then have Vishal Arun, who's the president of the UCL Hindu Society. Please welcome Vishal. Next, we welcome Raina Pal, who's a student at the University of Cambridge. We now welcome Ashmita Saha, who's a student at the University of Birmingham. And last but not least, I'm going to hand over the baton to Shorita Shaha, who's the youth coordinator of the Vivekananda Human Center, and who will also be moderating this segment. So please welcome Shorita Shaha. Thank you.
Good evening, all. It's a pleasure and a delight to welcome you all to the Youth Convention 2025, Swamiji's Messages for the Modern Age. I'd kindly invite everyone who's standing to please take their seats because they were in for a real treat where we have so many of these young Hindu leaders up here today to speak about what they think about Swamiji's message and how it's relevant to them today as students in the modern age and in the modern world. So, without further ado, I would like to invite Rishi Amin, co-president, and Om Gujjar, vice president of University of Bristol Hindu Society, my incredible successors, to speak a few words. Thank you.
Namaste and good afternoon all. As we've heard a lot about the messages so far today, some of the key ones I want to focus on are centered around believing in yourself and living for others. And these ones are urgently needed for the youth of today. And the first one being believe in yourself. In the age of social media, it's something that the youth need to remember in full force. Social media can create comparison, insecurity, and even anxiety in some cases. But Vivekananda reminds us all that true confidence is not borrowed from a screen. It comes from within our mind, our heart, and our soul. If we can all anchor our identities within self-belief rather than external validation, we become stronger, calmer, and our more authentic selves. And our second message, centered around living for others. We don't want to be seeking external validation, but imagine instead of competing for attention, we used all our platforms to spread kindness, awareness, and opportunities. So when combining these two messages, it offers us a powerful guidance. In a digital age that is constantly pulling us outwards, towards comparison and towards our egos, Vivekananda points us inwards, to self-confidence. And at the same time, he points us outwards again, but in the direction of service and not in show. So for the youth of today, navigating the promises and perils of social media and modern life, his wisdom is like a compass. Believe in yourself and live for others. This is how we will rise above the noise and truly be the best versions of all of ourselves and shape the world into what we truly want it to be. Thank you.
Namaskar, everyone. Before I begin, I would just like to see a raise of hands for those who have had a university education. A raise of hands. So, quite a wide array of people. And as most of you may know, going into university is a big shock. For me personally, it was too. And when in university, we meet many people. Some we may find good people, and some we may find to be bad. But when we embark on such an alien venture as university, whether we may struggle to find the good in others or not, there is one great virtue that we can see in each and every individual, whether we know them or we don't. And that is Swami Vivekananda's message, to see God within each and every being. The advent of university is something that people will not have experienced before, prior to coming to university. And it was the same for me. I had grown up in the bubble that was my family and friends, and I went into the unknown. Yet, Swami Vivekananda's message, see divinity in all, kept me steadfast in keeping my peace around a wider range of people. His second message for the youth was to remain fearless and to remain strong in our faith. When coming to university, when coming to new cities, new experiences, there are countless influences that affect us, that affect our mental health, that affect our habits, good and bad. And Swami Vivekananda taught us to maintain strength and to maintain faith in the Lord. Through this faith, one can remain connected to their dharma. Swami Vivekananda ji famously said, "Give me 100 youths who are strong in their faith, and I will transform India." He taught us that within the youth there is strength, but that strength must be guided through faith and devotion. So, let us pray that we, the youth, and the youth to come in the future generations can harness their strength through devotion and faith. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rishi and for that powerful, powerful start to the Youth Convention. Some incredible messages were relayed there, and I can't wait to hear what we have up next. I'd love to welcome Shuchishmita Maitra Ohana to give a few words. Ohana is a PhD student at the University of Oxford, so please give her a round welcome of applause.
Namaskar Shabaike. I want to begin with a question. What does it mean to be young and Hindu in the modern world? For me, this very question has shaped my life. I grew up in the UK as a Bangladeshi Hindu, sometimes feeling like an outsider even within the Hindu community, and at the same time, carrying the weight of knowing what our community in Bangladesh still faces today. And whenever I wrestle myself with that question, I find myself returning to Swami Vivekananda, because his message to the youth was not to hide from challenges, not to wait for someone else to lead, but to rise with courage, to be fearless, to stand tall. During my 3 years at King's College London Hindu Society, and especially the previous year as president, I tried to live that very message of Swami Vivekananda. I was the first non-Indian president, and I knew that that was an opportunity to bring something new. So I asked myself, how can we make space for Bengal's culture, for the voice of Bangladeshi Hindus alongside the already rich celebrations celebrated today. That vision came straight out of Vivekananda's call that Hinduism is not narrow or regional. It is vast, it is diverse, it is universal. In my eyes, that is exactly what the youth today must do. Take pride in our own roots, while at the same time building bridges across cultures and communities. That is how we serve both truth and society. And this journey is just the beginning for me. As I join Oxford, I want to carry forward that same spirit through the Oxford Hindu Society and the Centre for Hindu Studies. Because if Vivekananda could stand on the stage in Chicago in 1893 and declare the strength of Sanatan Dharma to the world, then surely we can stand in our universities, in our workplaces, and in our societies and do the very same thing. On a personal note, whenever I visit Bangladesh, I go to the Ramakrishna Mission in Borishal. But honestly, I don't think English words can truly capture what that place feels like to me. রামকৃষ্ণ মিশনে দাঁড়িয়ে আমার মনে হয় এটা শুধু একটা প্রতিষ্ঠান নয়, এটা হলো সাহসের প্রতীক. For me, it is a living reminder that service, education, and courage are more powerful than fear or persecution. And that is a choice Swamiji laid before us. Do you live small, or do you live fearlessly in service of something bigger? So let me now return to my opening question. What does it mean to be young and Hindu in the modern world? I believe Swami Vivekananda gave us the answer. It means to be fearless, to be authentic, and to use whatever platform we have, be it a society, a university, or even our own friendships, to uplift others and to stand for truth. So if I could sum up Swami Vivekananda's message for us, the youth, in one call, it would be this: be fearless, be authentic, and live in the service of truth. Or in his own spirit, as from the Katha Upanishad, Uthishtata, Jagrata, Parpya Varani Bodhata, arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Dhanyavad, thank you.
Thank you so much for leaving us with such an important message. Without further ado, I'd like to call upon Vishal Arun, the president of UCL Hindu Society, to continue our convention today.
Hello, I'm Vishal. I'm from UCL, and so I didn't really know how to start, so I thought we could take a moment first. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. So picture yourself as a wave in the ocean. Feel yourself rise up, gather energy, and form your own unique shape. You could be a big, powerful wave or a small, gentle ripple, but you're an individual wave in the vast ocean. Now feel as you start to soften. The lines that made you an individual wave begin to dissolve, and you fade back into the endless ocean. You're no longer just the wave, you're the entire ocean. Now gently come back. So this feeling of being both the wave and the entire ocean is the simple idea that Swami Vivekananda shared with the world. So I think a lot of people have already spoken about this quote, but I'm going to say it again. When Swami Vivekananda addressed the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, he didn't see some big crowd of people with different beliefs, different attitudes, different personalities. He didn't see individual waves. He saw an entire ocean. He started with a unifying phrase that echoed across the globe: sisters and brothers of America. He wasn't looking at separate people. He was looking at one divine whole. So, I mean, as a student, to me, spirituality seems like a long, complex path, and I never really knew where to start. But that's not what Swami Vivekananda taught. He taught it was about looking for divinity within everybody, looking for this force that connects us all. And for me, that is what I think of as an ocean that connects us all. We're all one and the same. We all are together. We are one together. So to start, as a student, what I've been trying to do is spend maybe 30 seconds if I have the time in a day, or 5 minutes, or 30 minutes in a day. But just sit down and find a quiet place, observe my thoughts and feelings without judgment. I'm not trying to block out thoughts, and I'm not trying to force any thoughts. And this practice is the main aim for me is trying to promote as much love as I can, because finding this force that connects us all will help us to act with compassion. So to me, as a student, I think spirituality is not about like reading 100 books, or it's not about memorizing scriptures. It's not about some long, complicated path. I think it just starts with a simple step inward. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that message, Vishal. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome upon Raina Pal, student of the University of Cambridge, to continue this convention. Please give a warm round of applause for Raina.
Swami Vivekananda preached the highest philosophical ideals, bringing Vedantic principles to the Western world. He was a strong voice communicating profound ideas, such as the nature of God and how to pursue him. However, it is his words on service, fearlessness, and work that I find to be most applicable as a young person in the UK. My name is Raina, and I'm going into my 3rd year of medicine at the University of Cambridge. My choice to pursue medicine was directly inspired by Swamiji's words. In his lecture titled Vedanta in its Application to Indian Life, he says, "Look upon every man, woman, and everyone as God. You cannot help anyone, you can only serve. Serve the children of the Lord, serve the Lord himself if you have the privilege. The poor and the miserable are for our salvation, so that we may serve the Lord, coming in the shape of the diseased, coming in the shape of the lunatic, the leper, and the sinner." And this drove my decision to pursue medicine so that I could serve God by serving people. However, my path to medicine was not straightforward. In year 13, I got rejected from everywhere I applied to for medicine. Despite this, I persisted in my ambition to study medicine, and that too at my dream university, Cambridge. I recalled Swamiji's inspirational words from an address at Kolkata. "Be not afraid of anything. You will do marvelous work. The moment you fear, you are nobody." And thus, I reapplied to Cambridge for medicine, this time being accepted. While I have enjoyed my time at university, it's not always been easy, and this is where Swamiji's explanations about Karma Yoga are really important. He teaches us to work ceaselessly, but to not be attached to the fruits of our labors. I experienced the importance of this myself during exams last year, where fear of failure paralyzed me from working as best as I could, and I had to be reminded of these principles so that I could release my attachment to passing or failing, and instead focus on my work. After remembering this, I was able to continue working steadily without fear. Due to recent political events, I think Swamiji's words on hatred are ever more important. Especially as a young person coming into an increasingly politically charged environment, it's imperative that we remember his teachings on acceptance and love, and do not allow ourselves to hate others. In his words from his book, Karma Yoga, "We ought not to hate anyone. This world will always continue to be a mixture of good and evil. Our duty is to sympathize with the weak and to love even the wrongdoer. Our world is a grand moral gymnasium wherein we all have to take exercise so as to become stronger and stronger spiritually. However, this does not mean that we should all be complicit in others' wrongdoings. He makes an important distinction in this. The following passage from the same book explains it well. All great teachers have taught, resist not evil, that non-resistance is the highest moral ideal. We all know that if a certain number of us attempted to put this maxim fully into practice, the whole social fabric would fall to pieces, the wicked would take possession of our properties and our lives and do whatever they liked with us. He says that before reaching the highest ideal, man's duty is to resist evil. He says to resist all evils, mental and physical, and when you have succeeded, then will calmness come. And so it can be understood that we should not aim to hate anyone, but we should still resist evil in whatever capacity we can. As I embark on the remainder of my time at university and life onwards, I hope to keep Swamiji's ideals with me as I navigate my career, family, and society. As Swamiji said in his book Karma Yoga, work, but let not the action or the thought produce a deep impression on the mind. Let the ripples come and go. Let huge actions proceed from the muscles and the brain, but let them not make any deep impression on the soul. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raina, for that wonderful message. It's truly being so wonderful to be hearing all of your different perspectives and your takes on Swamiji's message and hearing about your lives and how you've applied it through your lives at university. Now, last but certainly not least, I'd love to welcome Ashmita Saha to speak, and Ashmita is a student at the University of Birmingham, a new one, so please can we have a huge round of applause for Ashmita.
Namaskar and good evening to you all. Today I will be reciting some of Swami Vivekananda's teachings to the youth, as well as discussing some of my own thoughts as a student. So if I do make any mistakes, please do forgive me. Swami Vivekananda believed that the youth held the key to building a strong and awakened nation. His message was not just about spirituality, but about courage, confidence, and service to humanity. I believe that, like myself, the ambition of every youth is to reach great heights in life, to come out with flying colors in all endeavors, and to achieve all desired goals. Whether it is passing exams, succeeding in a job interview, or simply growing in personal development, we all dream of success. Yet Vivekananda reminds us that dreams alone are not enough. He urges us to act and to work hard, famously saying, "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." I experienced this truth during my A-level exams, one of the most stressful periods of my life. The fear and anxiety building up to exams often felt very overwhelming, but the one thought that kept me going was simple. If I have given my best, why should I be afraid? If I have done all the revision I possibly could, then why should I worry about the outcome? That mindset, to work with full dedication and not be paralyzed by fear, is exactly what Vivekananda wanted the youth to embrace. His message teaches us that with effort, discipline, and faith in ourselves, no obstacle is too great. So that was one key aspect of Vivekananda's teachings, having ambition and acting upon it. Another aspect he strongly emphasized for the youth was the strength of character. He taught us that neither money pays, nor name, nor fame, nor learning. It is character that can cleave through walls of difficulties. In today's modern world, however, money seems to dominate everything. We become so busy amassing wealth, sometimes even at the expense of others, that we forget to show compassion, kindness, and sympathy. But how do we develop good character? In the words of Swami Vivekananda, if a man continuously hears bad words, thinks bad thoughts, does bad actions, his mind will be full of bad impressions, and they will influence his thought and work without his being conscious of the fact. He will be like a machine in the hands of his impressions, and they will force him to do evil. And that man will be a bad man. He cannot help it. Similarly, if a man thinks good thoughts and does good works, the sum total of these impressions will be good, and they, in a similar manner, will force him to do good. even in spite of himself. When such is the case, man's character is said to be established. Finally, I would like to conclude by reminding all of us of the power we hold to make a positive impact on the world. Swami Vivekananda once said, "My hope of the future lies in the youth of character, intelligent, renouncing all for the service of others, and obedient, who can work out my ideas and thereby do good to themselves and the country at large." Let us try to be that youth who not only dream of change, but also live it through our actions. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ashmita, for that wonderful speech. It's been so lovely to hear everybody speak here and reflect on their experience as students, and it's so nice to see so many of you making an impact and choosing to make that impact actively every day, whether it's through your Hindu societies. And might I say, the number one recommendation I would have for anyone joining university anytime soon is join your Hindu society, because you never know what kind of impact you might end up making, and the friends that you make along the way and the messages that you are spreading are just so special and important to the world. For this speech, I'd like to call upon Councillor Eddie Hanson, the Mayor of Camden, London, to give us a few words. Thank you.
Namaste. मेरा नाम एडी हैंसन। I'm so happy to be here with you all today. I've felt so inspired, so inspired by the performances, the speakers, especially the young speakers. You know, how much they have spoken about Vivekananda ji. It just makes me reflect on the path of Gandhi ji, as well, in terms of how it did inspire the world just by his way of living, without using any violence, without using any harsh words, but just by living. Camden, our borough, our diversity is our strength. And what I've experienced today, it is really life-changing, and I'm so grateful for this great festival that's happening in our amazing borough, that is inspiring all of us. And I'm so thankful how the youth of today are embracing their faith, their heritage, and how that is directing their path. So thank you so much for having me today. I'm Councillor Eddie Hanson, the first mayor from African Heritage in the borough of Camden. Let's keep believing, let's keep hoping, let's be fearless. Thank you.
A huge thanks to Councillor Eddie Hanson for representing the Borough of Camden and for joining us here today and saying some inspirational words for us. If I could just ask Swami Sarvastananda to, as a token of our appreciation, to gift you with a crest from Vivekananda Human Centre. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome the President and Guest of Honour, the Minister in Charge, Ramakrishna Vedanta Centre, UK, Reverend Swami Sarvastananda Ji Maharaj, to deliver his speech.
I begin with a prayer, with a salutation to Swami Vivekananda. Om Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Revered Swamis, people, the devotees who have assembled here, admirers of Vivekananda, and also my young friends, young students. I was reminded of a similar gathering. Of course, it was a huge gathering of all places in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia on the same theme. That was in 2017. And a lot of people, about 3,000 delegates, had come from different countries, different races. But the theme was same. And I was surprised to see most of the youths who spoke. Some of the echoes we heard from the speakers today, but here the speakers had come prepared by reading some Vivekananda's thoughts. So I begin with a very bold statement Swami Vivekananda made 125 years ago. He said this in England. He said, I have a message for the West as Buddha had a message for the East. Imagine speaking those bold words. So that means he came with a conviction of a universal approach, trying to combine the greatest ideals of both West and the East. So in this youth convention, which was held in Saudi Arabia, most of the youths I saw, unlike the speakers of today, were speaking of a book, Clash of Civilizations by Samuel Huntington. Because as one of the speakers so nicely put it, we should not be seeing the wave, we should be seeing the ocean. Waves come and go, but the ocean remains constant. And when you speak of clashes of civilizations, because of diversity, we are speaking of the waves, a big wave gobbling up a smaller wave, and all conflict is a result of looking at the waves rather than looking at the ocean. So that was a very good point one of the delegates made. So we have to contemplate on that. That is exactly what Swami Vivekananda came, just as Buddha came thousands of years before Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda had a message for the West, and he gave a warning. When he visited Europe, he says the whole of Europe is on the top of a volcano, and if it does not give up its materialistic ways, there will be destruction, and we had the 2 world wars. So Swami Vivekananda always came emphasizing all of us, whatever be the religion or the race or the ethnicity or the country that we belong to look at unity in the midst of diversity, not by destroying diversity. The world will have its diversities, but it's the unity that we should emphasize. That is the message he brought to the West. Of course, in those days, there was this distinction, East and West, but now it's a global village. You no longer have this concept of East and the West. Geographically, maybe we can classify ourselves as Eastern people and Western people, but it's a global village. And Swami Vivekananda 125 years ago emphasized this fact. He was far, far ahead of our times. He knew the youth of the future. He himself was a youth. He died young. He was just 39 years old and 6 months. So he died. He was an inspiration for youth of all nations, all ethnicities, all countries, all religions, because he emphasized something that was eternal. And he spoke of a universal approach to all the problems of life. I'll just mention one important point he made, where he predicted the future civilization. Unlike Samuel Huntington, who said civilizations will always clash. They will clash because of the differences. But Swami Vivekananda dreamt of a world where three major civilizations who have contributed a lot, whether it is Eastern civilization or Western civilization, you have to give credit to these great civilizations. And he summed up the entire history of the world in a few sentences. He says, what the Greeks have given to the entire world, and we cannot deny that, and the fruits of that Greek contribution to the world, we are witnessing now in the form of development of science, technology. The whole contribution of the Greeks was contribution to the scientific approach to life. Of course, it was the material sciences, the material world that they investigated. And he said, you cannot deny the whole world has benefited, and what the world is today is partly because of the contribution of the Greeks, which led to the revolution, scientific revolution and technological revolution in the world. So he says, in 125 years ago, he said that every youth should be grateful to this Greek civilization. Then he comes to the Roman civilization. Side by side in the West, he said, there was another civilization which wanted to control human beings, or rather organize human beings in societies in a democratic way so that they can live in harmony with each other. Of course, there were these ideas of conquests, because every emperor believed that if there is one emperor, then the world will be a peaceful place, then there's no quarrel. But whatever be their ideas, the ideas of democracy and the parliaments, all systems of politics and administration, Vivekananda traced to these Romans. But unfortunately, cruelty because of their cruelty, they vanished from the face of the earth. So also the Greek civilizations. He had given this warning before the two world wars that excessive materialism, it's like sitting on the top of a volcano. It will burst any day and it will destroy everything. So it has to be toned down by a third contribution which India has made. The contribution to the world from the Eastern civilization, which is represented by India, is spirituality, which teaches us to see see the ocean, not the wave. So in the midst of diversity, it is only the spirit, the quest for the spiritual values that can save civilization. And he said it boldly, just as Buddha had a message to the East, he says, I have a message for the West. You better listen to me, otherwise you are sitting on the top of a volcano. And said it boldly. He said it in the heart of London. So, you see, he said the contributions of the other two cultures, civilizations, you cannot ignore. They have impacted and they will continue to impact. You cannot imagine a life without science and technology, without some sort of government, politics, administration. This will be there. It will guide nations as it has been guiding nations for centuries, civilizations for centuries. But we have to add our contribution, that is the contribution of Indian civilization, the Eastern civilization, which said in spite of all the development progress that you see in the world, it is the spirit, holding on to the spirit and spirit alone. Spirit means consciousness. That is the greatest discovery Indian spiritual scientists or spiritual emperors made, and that includes Buddha and all the rishis So they said, unless you hold on to this unifying principle of consciousness which permeates all, the God that you see in every human being, in every animal, every tree, everything that is living or non-living, the spirit that alone can unify. Otherwise, like Huntington, we'll see the clashes, and clashes will never end. So there cannot be a material solution to our worldly problems. That's why he gave a definition of what constitutes civilizational progress. He said, civilization or civilizational progress is a progressive reading of consciousness or spirit into matter. Matter is necessary for our survival. We need science, we need technology, we need politics, we need administration. We have to live in this world, but let it be guided by consciousness or the pure spirit, which is the key idea behind every religion, not just Hindu religion, but Buddhism, Christianity. Even Jesus said, the kingdom of God is the kingdom of the spirit, not the kingdom that we see around us. And he was crucified for saying that. He said, I am the emperor of the spiritual world. He didn't say anything wrong, but he was crucified because the emperors of the material world did not understand him. The Roman emperors thought that he should be crucified, but he was just saying what Indians and what the East has been saying for centuries. If spirit controls matter, then the civilization will progress. So civilizational progress is the progressive reading of spirit, more and more spirit into matter. The more you do it, the more better it is for all of us. So this fundamental idea, which is the theme of today's seminar, today's event, that is the core idea which Swami Vivekananda saw manifested in his master Sri Ramakrishna, and he proclaimed it to the entire world that spirit alone, like all the prophets before him, all the great spiritual giants before him, again and again, they said that if you have to survive, then you have to hold on to the spirit, give it precedence over matter. Let matter be there, but let it be controlled by the spirit, not the other way around. If matter or materialism controls the spirit, then there will be destruction. That is what you see all around. So this is the fundamental message. I'm very happy the youths who have come here, they have, especially the idea where he hit one of the speakers. He said the core is to see the ocean, not the wave. That is exactly what Swami Vivekananda said. See the ocean, see the broad underlying unity, where everything is peaceful, everything is calm. But if you look at the oceans, then there will be clash. One big wave will kill or destroy the smaller waves. It looks turbulent on the surface. But if you meditate, go deep within and try to find out the connecting unity which will not emphasize the diversity that we see, that leads to quarrel, that leads to jealousy, that leads to conflict, leads to competition. The world, he said, will be a better place if we try to see the spirit within. If more and more people try to see the spirit within, then that alone can provide a good solution. So I'm very happy we are still our youth. When I said this in Saudi Arabia, most of the people had not even known who Swami Vivekananda was. But I had to speak the truth. Though that was not the right place, because people were all talking of clashes. Why we are clashing with each other? Why there are clashes in the Middle East? Why there are clashes? I said, because we have not addressed the fundamental idea of all great people who have come to save civilization. If we want civilizational progress, we have to listen to Vivekananda. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that youth convention. At the outset, I did say that we would be having some bright minds join our stage, and I think you'll all agree that they lived up to that expectation. So thank you all once again for talking about your own inspiration from Vivekananda's message, a message that focuses around having faith in oneself, building strong character, and having that inner power. So thank you once again for being here, and thank you for being part of this ongoing journey. And through you, we'd like to continue the torch of wisdom that Vivekananda lit for the world. So if I could invite Swamiji to please present our guest youth speakers with a token of our appreciation. So if I call upon, first of all, if we can have Rishi and Om. Shuchishmita. Vishal. Reina. Asmita. And last but not least, Shorita. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm aware that some of you are standing. I've just been informed that the upper balcony has been opened and there are many seats available there. And in fact, if you, it's probably a better view over there as well. So if you want to take some seats, there are some available upstairs.